Hello, legendary leaders, and welcome back to another enlightening episode of Legendary Leadership Bites, which is LLB with Fatah Khan. I'm your host, Fatah Khan, a mid career transformation coach, an author, and a TEDx speaker. Today, we are going to cover a very powerful topic and a very foundational topic for any leader to be able to build and then have strong leadership. What is it? 5 ways to build trust in leadership. Now, I want you all to imagine trust as the foundation of any sturdy bridge connecting the leaders and their teams across turbulent waters. Now, if you see, just like a bridge, what does it provide? It provides stability and also the confidence. Same way, trust serves as stability and confidence, and it will serve more as the bedrock for effective leadership. So, that's making trust as the most powerful thing. And how do you do that? How do you actually build trust? There are 5 ways I'm going to cover through which you can build trust in your leadership. Number one is consistency and reliability. Now, as a leader, if you do, now you must have seen one of the common traits of any powerful leader is self discipline. And when you see any leader who is consistent, who is self disciplined, would you actually respect that leader and would you trust that leader? Or in another scenario, if you want to imagine a leader who is not consistent, very random when it comes to his actions, when it comes to his or her in terms of like priorities or whatever they are doing, when it is consistent, would you actually believe and trust that leader more, or would you trust in the leader who is like random, right, and ad hoc? Obviously you would trust in a leader who is consistent. So consistency and reliability is one of the beautiful ways of building trust in the leadership, right? Because that's how you actually make people believe that you are somebody who is dependable, who is actually going ahead and keeping their commitments. Think of it like something that you are doing on a consistent basis. Let's take a very simple example of you are reaching to office or you are starting your work every single day at the same time. This is like the consistency, the self discipline, the consistency people will see in you. Or for example, you committed for certain thing and you're consistent in that particular action. People will watch you and then people will trust you more because they see that consistency. They see that commitment that's coming from you and they see that you are actually dependable and more predictable, right? We love things and then we trust things which are more predictable than the things which are unpredictable. So consistency and reliability is the one of the biggest thing that can help you to build trust, and that is something that you need to look at as one of the ways. Now, second way is open communication and transparency. Now, as a leader, you need to be first of all a great communicator. And in terms of communication, what kind of communication will help you as a leader to build that trust? It's always going to be open communication. Now, if you are not transparent with your teams, if you are not transparently sharing with your teams, and if you are not transparent in terms of like your communication, then the teams will not trust you. Because think of it, anything that is hidden, right? Would people believe in that more, or something that is open and transparent? People believe in that more because we know, right? If something is hidden, there might be certain things wrong or certain things which are not the right practices. But if it is something open and transparent, right, people can actually go ahead and look at it, then they believe in it. For example, any kind of budgets across the departments that you are utilizing, or any kind of promotions, especially the promotions and the hikes and all of these things, as a leader you need to have this as something which is transparent. Any kind of communication, like when you are able to do that, that's when people will trust you. Anything which is hidden, people will see an hidden agenda in that, and as a leader, if you are hiding things, if you are not transparent, then people would not trust you. So open communication and transparency, be it in your thoughts, your concerns, your ideas, any challenges that you are going through or your organization is going through, like sharing them, especially the organizational challenges. If you're able to share with them, people will trust you more and people would actually follow you more, right? And then the number three, step number three, or the third way of doing it is with act with integrity. Now, integrity is one of the biggest value you need to have as a leader, Because if you don't have integrity, then people will not believe in you. What is integrity? Integrity, in simple words, is you do something honestly, and then you are doing it not only when people are watching you, even when people are not watching you. Right? Honesty, if in simple words, it can be seen as honesty as well, but integrity is like upholding high ethical standards, right? And demonstrating honesty all the time. It's not like only once in a while or when somebody is seeing you. All the time, honesty and integrity and fairness in all your interactions. That is what will help you to actually be seen as a great leader, and people will follow you and people will start trusting you when you actually go ahead and act with integrity. And then the next one is empathy. What is empathy? Empathy is like when you talk about sympathy, you feel bad for people, but empathy is you are able to actually feel how they are feeling, and you are able to actually solve the problems. Like for example, an empathic the if you see, I can share with you two scenarios. Like one, a non-empathetic leader. When you see the targets are not being reached, a non-empathetic leader would directly go and be transactional with the team members. Hey, there were certain targets that we had to reach. Why are they not reached? Like, what is the biggest challenge because of which we are not reached there? And direct transactional and direct talking about the numbers. Whereas an empathetic leader will try to understand, will become curious, to ask curious questions to the team members. Hey, why did we reach this target this time? We have always reached the target. Is there any challenge that we are going through? Are there any personal things that are stopping you? Right? Is there any challenge that you're going through in your professional life or personal life? What is actually stopping you? Because you have always been a champion, or you have always been able to deliver the projects on time. But why this particular project is not happening on time right now? Right? Understanding and allowing that space for people to actually go ahead and share is what makes you actually as an empathetic leader. And when you actually display empathy, and when you bring empathy in your life as a leader, that's when people will trust you. And then the number five and the last one I want to share, the last one of the ways, like of course there are multiple ways, but the fifth way of actually building trust is follow through on feedback and commitments. Now, a lot of leaders, first of all, do not take feedback. But as a leader, it's important for you to take feedbacks, because only when you take feedback, you will be able to know whether there is something that's really going good or there are certain areas of improvement. Once you understand that, if something is going good, you can actually continue doing that. But if it is if something is not going good, you can actually fix that. But how do you build trust? Because once you start taking feedbacks, people would start already trusting you, because you are somebody who is allowing people to talk, who is listening to people, who is taking inputs from everyone. So feedback, when you take, people will start trusting you. But that's not the end point. The end point of the feedback, of course there's no end point for feedbacks, but if you see, that's not the entire process in the feedback. Feedback is not just when you give to people or when people give to you. Feedback is also about the follow up. When you follow through on the feedback, if somebody has given you the feedback and you work on it and you go back, or when you give the feedback to your team members, when you go back and you start looking at what are the things that have happened. So when you follow through on the feedback and also the commitments that you have given, if you have committed maybe certain time to certain people, or certain things to certain, in terms of like certain promotion or hike or whatever, staying true to the commitments and also following through the feedback will actually help you to build that trust with the team members. So these are few of the ways through which you can build trust. Again, let me tell you, like, trust is the bridge between you and your team members. The stronger the bridge, the stronger you and your team will have the relationship, and the way you can actually help the organization grow. Because while you are actually building the organization, while you are building teams, it is very important factor. The one critical factor that can help you as a leader is trust. So these are the five ways that you can look at in terms of building trust, because trust is the foundational element of strong relationship between you and your team. It is the foundational element that will actually help you to become an effective and a legendary leader. So always look at building trust with the team members, because that's the foundation for you as a leader. And today, I hope the points that I shared were helpful to you. So, legendary leaders, thank you once again for joining me in today's episode. Until our next episode, keep leading with purpose and impact. Stay inspired, stay influential. Thank you and have a wonderful time.